佈先嘅。咁我哋咧就希望咧係邀請Professor Bradley McPherson 上嚟咧，就係同大家講一講嗰個測試結果嘅。
Okay, thank you everybody for coming today. In my section now, I'll talk a little bit about the hearing aid that we did our research study on, the Easy Ear, and why we actually chose to use this particular hearing aid and why we were very interested in studying it. So, and what I'll be talking about is based on a scientific journal paper that was published late last year. So the research has been peer-reviewed and it has been scrutinised by other scientists. Okay, so first thing to say, and I think Dr. Hughes already mentioned this briefly, is that there's a very high rate of hearing loss among elderly people, and this is all over the world. So it's thought by World Health Organization that about 1/3 of all adults over 65 years of age have some kind of hearing loss. So hearing loss is very common in elderly people, and it's been calculated there are over 226 million people throughout the world who have disabling hearing loss. Their hearing loss is so bad that it affects their daily communication. Now, Dr. Hughes already explained the most common cause of hearing loss is called presbycusis. It's an inner ear hearing loss, and it's due to age-related changes in the hearing system. Now, this age-related hearing loss, presbycusis, really negatively affects your quality of life when you're elderly, because it reduces your communication ability. So it excludes you from a lot of social activity, it excludes you from a lot of interpersonal relations with family and friends and society. So elderly do have a special need for hearing aids. They really do need hearing aids in many cases. Unfortunately, this need is not really being met very successfully up till now. There's a low acceptability of hearing aids for many elderly people. The majority of elderly people with disabling hearing loss don't wear hearing aids. Often elderly people have problems other than just hearing loss. Okay, so they often have visual problems. I'm getting that now. They have limited sense of touch, limited range of movement as well, and at times dementia as well, so cognitive problems. And these types of problems make modern hearing aids often not as attractive as you would expect for elderly people. So often modern hearing aids look something like this. Okay, they're very, very small, and that's great if you're young and fit and you have excellent vision and you have excellent control of your hand movement, but it's not so good for someone who's 85 years of age with visual problems and with movement problems. So, modern hearing aids are often designed like this. This design is a problem. And we did an earlier study looking at elderly people in Hong Kong, and we asked them what were the reasons why they had a hearing loss but they weren't wearing a hearing aid. And some of the reasons included not being able to control the hearing aid, difficulties with the volume control, and just that small size made it difficult for them. So a larger instrument, like the Easy Ear, has benefits, you would think. And larger instruments, body-worn hearing aids, usually look something like this. But over the last 20, 30 years, in most cases, there have been very, very few changes in these body-worn hearing aids. The design has stayed the same. So we were, at Hong Kong U, very interested in the EasyHear brand device because it's not a conventional body-worn hearing aid. It has large controls. It is one unit, but it allows binaural fitting, so you can use the one instrument to fit the right ear and the left ear, which is useful. It has a beamforming microphone, which Dame Joan will talk about more in detail, and it also has a nice big colour screen and large controls that are easy for elderly people to feel. So we felt that this hearing aid, because of these special features and other features, it also has noise cancellation features, so it reduces background noise compared to speech. It also has Bluetooth linkage to a person's smartphone, so that's also a useful feature as well for many elderly people these days, and even has FM radio function. So it's got a lot more functions than most normal body-worn hearing aids. So we'd heard from clients who'd been fitted with this device that the device gave them a lot of satisfaction, that they felt it was very acceptable, they were quite satisfied with it. But these were just anecdotal reports from a few clients. Now, these kinds of unconventional hearing aids, like the EasyHear, are rarely evaluated in any scientific way. So we wanted to study just how satisfied clients were with this kind of hearing aid from a scientific point of view. So we wanted to see whether this could be an effective way of fitting more elderly people who need a hearing aid with an appropriate hearing aid. So this is why we did the study. Okay, so just a little snapshot of what we did. We looked at many features of the hearing aid and then also looked at satisfaction with the client. We looked at how long they were wearing the hearing aid. We found that on average they were wearing it between 4 and 8 hours a day, which is good. I'll talk in detail about this. We looked at quality of life and we rated the clients using 3 different questionnaires, international questionnaires for quality of life with the hearing aid. And we found that, sure enough, the clients did seem to be, on average, very, very satisfied with this hearing aid. So on one international scale for satisfaction, they gave an average of 3.95 out of 5, which is quite a high rating for this particular hearing aid. We found that 97% of the people in our study commented that the EasyHear, the beamforming device, gave improvement in their face-to-face listening ability. They also, the vast majority, 94%, commented that there were improvements in speech in noise, and almost as many commented that there were improvements in phone conversation. So it was quite a well-rated device for improving communication. We asked each client what their individual needs were. What is the thing you need most to get from a hearing aid? What situation do you most need to communicate in? And for their first and second rated most important hearing needs, we had 95% said that there were improvements when they used the device. And surprisingly, many actually valued that smartphone linkage and Bluetooth capability. I was surprised after this study to find out how many elderly people actually use a smartphone for telephone conversation with their relatives and friends, and were able to use the smartphone through the hearing aid to better understand the phone signal. So that was great. Nearly half of the people in our study had used other hearing aids previously, and 91% of the former hearing aid users commented that this particular hearing aid sounded clearer compared to their previous hearing aid, which was also very positive finding. So what we did, we had 43 participants, 28 were male, 15 were female, 17 were first-time users, and 22 were previous users, and they were elderly people. The average age was 71 years, okay, but the age range was from 46 to 88. Most of them were in that elderly 65 years plus age range, though. And the mean age, the average of the average hearing threshold was 65 to 70 dB, which means they had a moderate hearing loss on average. Some of them had much more severe hearing loss also. So there was a range of ages, mostly elderly, range of hearing loss, but mostly moderate or severe hearing loss clients. Okay. So we looked at user benefit and satisfaction with the EasyHear hearing aid, and we measured benefit and satisfaction using a number of different measurement tools, okay, because we wanted to do it in a scientific way, a systematic way. So what we wanted to do was understand the client's experience with this larger type of device. Would they accept a larger type of device, or did they actually want something that size in their hearing aid? We wanted also just to rate the amount of benefit and satisfaction they got from the hearing aid. So the study design was prospective. We got in our group of subjects, and then we followed them from day one, when they were fitted with the hearing aid, through for an 8-week period, just to assess how they were doing with the hearing aid. So we used 3 standard questionnaires to measure benefit and satisfaction. One's called the International Outcome Inventory for Hearing Aids, the IOIHA. One was a profile for hearing aid benefit, the FAB, and we have a Cantonese version of that we used. IOIHA, we had a Cantonese version of that as well. And also the COSI, the Client-Oriented Scale of Improvement. So once again, we had Chinese version of that for clients. And we also did an open-ended interview as well at the very end of the 8 weeks of the study. So, start of the study, first session, the audiologist at EasyHear did the fitting, initial questionnaires. After that, when clients came back 2 weeks after fitting and then 8 weeks after fitting, one of my research assistants took the questionnaire results and did the final interview. Now, it was emphasised to the clients that this was a Hong Kong use study, and the research assistants had no relationship with EasyHear Clinic. Okay, so that's the way we did it. What we found was that for the International Hearing Aid Inventory questionnaire, we found that in fact both for clients who had previously used a hearing aid and those who had not, that they rated the EasyHear product highly. The scores for change in quality of life, for the amount of benefit, for the amount of difficulty that was left in communication after when they were wearing the hearing aid, overall satisfaction with the hearing aid, how the hearing aid helped others communicate with them. For all these things, the score was in the high 3s or early 4s, and for this particular questionnaire, internationally, that would be ranked as a very high score. So that would be equivalent to excellent scores in some studies that have been done in Australia, United States, Sweden, other countries. So the scores were excellent for this, and so people were highly satisfied with this. For the profile of hearing aid benefit, scores work in a little different way. That the lower the number means the more satisfied, the more benefit you had with the device. And we found that after hearing aid fitting, scores got much, much better with this device. So for scores, particularly for ease of communication and also hearing in background noise, scores were much better after fitting with the hearing aid, when people were aided. Okay. For the COSY questionnaire, the specific needs, we found that ratings also were very good. For face-to-face communication, face-to-face conversation, often that was a highly ranked need for people fitted with the hearing aid, and very often there was improvement. Clients said, yes, I find it more than half the time or almost all the time I'm improved with the hearing aid in this kind of situation. Phone conversation, almost 100% of people who had that as a problem found that for half the time to almost all the time they were improved. Same for speech in noise. We're also getting very large positive ratings for improvements in speech in noise with the device. Different COSY different needs were expressed by different people, but for the overall group who said, this is my main need, this is my number one need, most of those people were actually saying, yes, the hearing aid has now improved my hearing ability, my listening ability, at least half the time, or almost all the time. Okay? And for their specific need number 2, same situation. The big majority of people were saying this hearing aid definitely improves my listening ability in this area where I really need to improve. And these were the 3 main areas where clients felt they needed the most improvement: face-to-face communication, speech in noise, noise reduction, and also watching TV was another one. And these were all areas where people felt there was a great deal of benefit from using the EasyHear brand. We also finally had an open-ended interview, and we found that for participants who'd used a hearing aid before, a large percentage of them felt the beamforming EasyHear brand hearing aid was better than their previous hearing aid, in that it sounded clearer. Beamforming hearing aid sounded clearer, so 91% said that, and these are unprompted responses in an open-ended interview, and nearly 60% also found that it gave better noise reduction ability, which you'd expect from this kind of hearing aid. Okay, so for all the hearing aids together, with and without any previous hearing aid experience, 95% found that the hearing aid did improve audibility, did improve their listening ability. Okay. The 5 top specific benefits that participants liked about the beamforming hearing aid, which was fitted to both left and right ear, was better audibility, better listening, clearer speech. They also found noise reduction was great, speech in noise became clearer, and they also valued the Bluetooth function and the phone connection function of the hearing aid. So I need to point out that there was a research grant from Logital, from the Easy Hear company, that allowed us to employ the research assistants and get the data that we obtained, but our research assistants had no relationship to the company, and the research report was independently written. Okay, so thank you very much.
博士咧就係今日睇下個結果，中午好啊。